welcome to Learn Extra Live, and we're doing maths literacy, hey?
Absolutely.
Measurement, please tell us more about it.
Hi, grade 10s. Today we're doing measurements. We're continuing from last week.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little bit more kind of revision of perimeter to area, and then hopefully we'll get to volume.
Okay, awesome. So that sounds awesome, guys. I hope that you've called everyone, one and all, to join us today for measurements, hey?
Thanks.
Okay, you can walk over to your board while
Thank
I
you.
let you know about our Facebook page. So you guys already know that we're on Facebook. I mean, some of you have already joined us. So of course, for those who don't, it's facebook.com/learnextra, and our Twitter handle is @learnextra. Guys, Mathslit is always a lot of fun. So make sure that you send us every question that you may have and every query. Tell me how your week has been. I mean, it is Thursday, so quite a few things have been happening at school today in terms of maths literacy. And let us know how your dad's school went. I'm looking forward to being with you guys today. And as I said, if your little brothers and sisters are also making a noise, tell them to sit down next to you, grab a piece of paper, and join us today, because we are going to be having a lot of fun. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kat. Guys, we're going to do measurement, but before we start, let us just discuss our numbers. So I'm going to go back to Katlego and ask her. Right, so last week, we were on 14,720. Nice to know that it's growing so much.
Yes.
But give me the good news. What's this week's number?
This week we have reached our 15,000 and over, so we're on 15,129.
That is so great. We are so close to the
Fantastic.
next party, which I
Yes.
hope I'm actually here for.
Yes.
now. So 15,000, that's really great. But guys, still, lots of people out there that are not on with us on Facebook. So pass the message along. Tell them how great we are. Okay, let's go back with measurement. So as I said, last week we did perimeter and we touched on area. And today I want to do a little bit of surface area. Possibly we're going to get to volume, but I'm going to be doing measurement again next week, so we will definitely cover all 4 of those by the end of next week. So let's just do a quick recap. So if we're looking at a square, I'm quickly just going to give you the formula. So your square, remember that was the outline. We need to do it, and it's in 1 dimension. So our square is our outline, it's our length, and there are 4 lengths, so it is 4L. That's your perimeter. For the rectangle, we've got 2 lengths and 1 breadth. 2 breadths. So what we do, it's our formula is perimeter is 2 times, and then we add the length and the breadth. Our triangle, we're going to just label these side 1, side 2, and side 3, and our perimeter is then clearly just adding all 3 sides. And then moving on to our circle. And remember, on our circle, let's just get a green pen. The green line going through the circle from one side through the center to the other side is our diameter. And the white line going from the center to the circumference or to the outline is the radius. So let's get a white line color for that, is our radius. And our formula, let's use orange, our perimeter is equal to 2 pi r, and remember I said to you last week we only need to use those 4 function calculators, so we're always going to use pi equals to 3,14. So in actual fact we can write our formula as 2 times by 3,14 times the radius, or we can use the diameter, so our perimeter is equal to the pi times the diameter. Or again, let's substitute 3,14 times the diameter. So those are your formulas. Now, guys, remember, they're going to give you the formulas. We do not need to remember these. Possibly just for a square or a rectangle. But even then, most of the papers I've seen have actually got the formula in. Because we're not testing whether you remember the formula, we're testing whether you can apply the formula. So let's move on to area quickly. Right, our square, and I think have I got the formulas here? There you go. My square is length times breadth. So if I make that my length and that my breadth, but remember in my square, my length is equal to my breadth, so I can actually say area is length squared, or length times length. My rectangle, let's give us a length here and a breadth there, and this formula, area equals length times breadth. my triangle, this is my base of my triangle, and that's my perpendicular height of my triangle. And the formula, love this board, the formulas just appear. Well, they seem to appear. This one's not seeming to appear. Okay, well, let me give this one to you then. So the area is equal to half the base times the perpendicular height. Okay, and I write my perpendicular like that. Oh, look at that. Formula's probably underneath there. And lastly, the circle. Area of the circle is, there it is. Area is pi times radius squared. And again, we're going to change that to 3,14 times the radius squared. Now for area, there is no formula where we use the diameter. So if you get a question where you have the diameter, you're going to have to convert it into the radius. And remember, the way we do that is your diameter is twice the radius. So we divide the diameter by 2. Okay, I think that's enough of a recap from last week. Let's go through a question. That's the best way to actually realize if we understand the concepts. Right, so question 1 says, the committee at the local soccer grounds wants to investigate the possibility of creating a new design for their soccer fields. They want to use color-dyed grass in different areas of the field, as shown in the accompanying diagram. So let's go look at the diagram, and we'll come back to the table. Right, here is my diagram of my soccer field. So what they want to do is they want to make the outline of the field in yellow. Then they're going to have a green, they're going to have a green soccer field. Try to find that again. A green field where the goals are in blue and the center circle, now soccer's not that good. The center circle, I was going to give it a name, but it's
Rather
not sure where. We'll call it the center circle, it probably is that, is in red. Okay, so it's going to have this brightly colored, and I think it'll look like quite a nice field, don't you think?
I think
Okay,
so.
let's go back to our table. What does our table tell us? Oh, there you go, it's the center circle. Right, our penalty area is going to be blue. The length of the penalty area is 40 meters by 20 meters, and the cost per meter squared is 125 Rand. And there are also 2 penalty areas. Then we've got our center circle in red. It gives us the diameter of the center circle and the cost per meter squared. The rest of the field is going to be green. We've got our length and breadth and our cost. And then the border around the playing field is going to be yellow, and it tells us all our measurements. So along the side is 3 meters, and behind the post, 5 meters. And again, we've got a cost. Right, calculate the area in meters squared. And this is what is so important, to realize what units they want the answer in. So everything we do now has to be in meters. We're calculating the blue grass needed. So we're going to look at our drawing, and we're going to see that we need this blue grass there and that blue grass there. So there are 2 of them. So my area is length times breadth. But there are 2 parts, so I'm going to add my 2. Okay. So what is the length? And now what I like to do on my diagram, let me take this blue line away, is I like to add the length and the breadth to the diagram. So if I count that as my length and that as my breadth, it is easier for me to substitute in to the equation. So now I see that my length was 40 meters, my breadth was 20 meters, and I need 2 of them. Now 2 things have happened. When I've substituted on all the values, I've left out the meters. I find that they can be confusing, and you might find this too. So leave out the units in your calculations. Let's do this calculation, get an answer, and then we will add our units. So let's get our calculator out, and we see that it is 40 times 20 times, there were 2 of them, and it's 1,600. So go back to that. It is 1,600. Now I need a unit, meters squared. Go back, have I calculated the question correctly? It says calculate the area in meters of the blue grass. Got that. Let's move on to the next one. The green grass needed. So my green grass, let's go back to my diagram, is a little bit more confusing. So on my green grass, that is the entire field minus the 2 penalty areas, those are the blue ones we've just calculated, minus the center circle. So we're going to work out the entire area and minus these 3 shapes. And I've already calculated those 2 shapes, the area of them. So let's see. My length, let's do this in green. We've got green grass. My length is 120 meters. My breadth is going to be, breadth is 60 meters. Right, that's the breadth. So I'm going to calculate that first. So let's work out. So, and I'm actually going to write it out. Area of the big rectangle minus the area of the center circle and the 2 penalty boxes. And that's how I'm going to put it down, because it's logical and then anybody can follow. So the area of my big circle was length times breadth. A little bit more space, and that was 120 times by 60. Right, let's calculate that. 120 times 60. And we get an answer of 7,200. So 7,200. Now I still need to minus the area of the circle. So the area of my circle, remember, was pi, which is 3,14, times the radius squared. So it is 3,14 times, now what was the radius of the circle? So let's go back up to my diagram, and I see that on my circle I have a diameter of 20. So if my diameter is 20, my diameter is 20 meters. For my radius, I need to divide by 2. So that's going to give me my radius. So 20 divided by 2 is my radius is 10 meters. Now, if you get into the habit, whenever you've got a circle, of writing out what the radius is, it'll also make it a whole lot easier for you to do the calculations. So add that to your diagram. And here we've got, let's go back to my green, radius, which was 10 meters squared, 10 squared. And I'm going to add, well, this I've got to minus those 2. The 2 penalty goals, which I've already calculated as 1,600 meters. So let's do this calculation on the calculator. Right, so where's my calculator? So I'm going to use pi, 3,14, times by 10 squared. Now, if you're not using a scientific calculator, if you're just using a plain 4-function calculator, then what are we going to do is we're going to say, let's delete the square, we're going to say 10 times 10. That's what the squared means. Let's get an answer. It's 314. So we're going to double check that that's the same thing. 314 meters squared. And I need to add the 1,600 that I've already calculated. So we're going to add that first. Now, I don't think I need a calculator for that. So it's 1914. We're going to minus it from our 7,200. We'll need a calculator for that. So 7,200 minus 1914, and we get 5,286. So 5,286, and remember, now we need our units. This is meters squared. So that is our area of the green grass needed. Let's see what the next part of the question asks us. Right, we've got our picture again. Calculate the cost of the red grass needed. Now they want the cost. Earlier we were just calculating the area. Now to work out the cost, we're going to have to work out the area, which in fact we've just done, but we'll do it again, and then multiply it by the cost per meter. So let's find a little bit more space. In fact, we have worked this out before. So our area was 3,14 times 10 squared, and we got our answer of 314 meters squared. Now I need to times it by the price. So we find out center circle, that's the red one. Our price is 120 Rand per meter squared. So all we're going to do is take our answer here and times it by 120 Rand. So we need our calculator out. Right, so it was 314 times by 120, and we get an answer of 37,680 Rand. And remember, there's a reference to that. It is rands. So we got our cost. It seems like quite a lot of money to paint paint just the center circle.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see what our next part of our question is. Right. Thick, solid lines on the diagram indicate the markings needed in the game. These are drawn using special paint for sports field. What length, and they want it in meters, of white paint is needed to mark the laying field, excluding that around the yellow border, and give your answer to the nearest meter. So, and then they give us the formula for the circumference. What do we need? We want excluding this line here, that we're not looking at. We are looking at all the white lines here, and remember, not the arrows. So, we're going to need 3 60s minus this little piece in the middle. Okay? We're going to need 2 120s. Then we're going to need our circle here, and we need 4 20s and 2 40s. So we're going to add all those up to actually get our answer. So the easiest way to do this is to actually draw them. So what are we going to do? Right, I need the lengths. So it's 120 meters, and I need 2 of those. Okay, let's times by 2. Then I'm going to add, I said I needed 3 60s. But from that I need to minus my diameter. So let me go back to my drawing to show you what I've done. I've said I need 2 120s. Those are those lines. Then I need, let's get a different color. Then I need 3 60s, but I do not need the circle to be painted. So I need to minus this in the middle, and that is 20 meters. So I need a 60, 60, another 60, but minus 20, and then I'm going to do these other ones. So how many 40s have I got? I've got 2 40s, and I've got 4 20s. Let's add that to our calculation. I needed 2 times 40 plus 4 times 20 plus my circle. And my circle was 3,14 times the diameter, or 2 radii, which is the diameter, so we've got 20. Right, and with that I can now do all these calculations, and I should get my answer. So have I got everything? All I've painted, I haven't painted the last, which is my circle. So let's do these calculations quickly, and then I think it might be time for a break. 120 times 2 is 240, plus 3 times 60 is 180, and I need to minus my 20. I'm going to put that in brackets, plus 2 40s are 80, 4 20s are 80, and the last one that I do need my calculator for is this 314 times 20. 3,14 times 20 is 62,8. Right, and now I can add these all. So this becomes 160. So let's add this all. Right, my calculator. I've already got that number in, so let's now just add our 240 plus our 160 plus 80 plus 80. And that should give me the entire thing, 622,8. So 622,8 meters. Now, what did the question ask us? The question actually said, calculate to the nearest meter. So I'm going to round this up to 623 because I can't have a part not painted. So 623 meters is our answer. We've got the entire thing painted. I think we should take a little bit of a break. Give them a bit of a stretch or
after the soccer field,
After the soccer field.
colourful soccer field. Guys, let's take a really quick break. This break is for you to maybe get some things clarified for you in this question, and perhaps if you have any other questions, start sending them through. See you after the break.